The Master Fables, Coyote's Teachings. 1. The Seam, A Tale for the Birthday Zoo. The definitive narrative poem of the entire project, wherein the trickster coyote explains Spencer Brown's logic, the 6 modes of absence, and the nature of the seam to the little prince. Now Coyote sat down by the edge of the mark, where the light met the dark, met the light, met the dark, and he cocked one ear back and he cocked one ear near, and he said, "Little friend, come and sit yourself here." So the little prince sat, and he brushed off his knees, and he said, "Mr. Coyote, explain, if you please, what's a seam, and a void, and a chair that is bare? Is it something that's here? Is it something that's there?" And Coyote grinned wide with that trickster's slow grin, the one he wears out and the one he wears in, and he said, "Little prince, there are 6 ways to miss. Just 6, that is all. And it goes about this. 1 is the page before anyone drew. No line and no letter, no me and no you. You can point at it once and you'll furnish the room, so the pointing itself is the crack in the tomb. Sisyphus knew it. He pushed, and the mountain kept mountaining hushed upon hushed. The rock didn't hate him. The rock wasn't cruel, the rock was the mark and the pushing the school. 2 is a slot that is empty, unclaimed, a jar with no jam, and a game with no aim. No one is missing, no one was due. It's a cup in the cupboard just waiting for you. 3 is the missing, and this one has teeth. This is the wreath where a hand should be beneath. This is the plate that is set for the guest. This is the chair that is holding its breath. This is where Cindy Lou, who 2 feet small, turns in the hallway and looks down the hall, and she says, "Mr. Grinch, why'd you take all the roast?" And what stings the Grinch is not roast beef, but host. The chair had a shape, and the shape had a name, and missing is missing because someone came. 4 is denied, and it's sneaky and mean. It's the thing that you shove to the space in between. You mark it, then push it, then swear it's not there, but it comes back around wearing somebody's hair. The Grinch pushed the Christmas clean out of his cave, and the Christmas came back on the wind, on the wave, because that which is pushed is not gone, it is sent. And the price of denial is the noise of the vent. Denial's the shadow. Denial's the mask. Denial's the answer that lied to the ask. 5 is the unknown. The slot kept ajar. The door that says, maybe, the light of the star that has not yet arrived but is coming this way. It's the space around, yet, it's the pause in the day. The Wizard of Oz, when they pulled back the drape, he wasn't a fraud in a wizardly cape. He was unknown, pretending to known, and that's why when the curtain came down, he could still say goodbye and go up in a balloon and drift off to the moon, because unknown that admits itself lifts like a tune. 6 is negated, a fenced-in not. Not red in the crayons, not cold in the pot, precise in the box. But outside of the fence, not something is not any something. It's rents with no rooms, and it's chords with no strings, and it's shoes with no feet. You can say not, you can't sing the not blues. Now the little prince frowned, and he tugged on his scarf, and he said, "That's a lot of not being by half." "So the void has no guests then?" And Coyote said, "No, the void has no guests. But, and here is the show. The empty chair does, because missing is furnished. It's shaped by the friend who once sat in the chair. And the shape doesn't end when the friend goes away. The shape is a room, and a room is a promise, and a promise is bloom." "So then what's a seam?" asked the prince, very small. And Coyote said, "Seam is the best part of all. The mark makes an inside. The mark makes an out. The seam is the whisper. The seam is the doubt. The seam is the crack where the outside can knock. The seam is the hinge. The seam is the lock that is almost locked shut, but is left just askew, so the world that got left out can still speak to you. Every time somebody sealed up the seam, the king and the priest and the party and team the outside came back with a bill and a claim. Job's friends sealed the seam and got called out by name. The Grinch sealed the seam with a sack and a sled, and the Who's sang anyway. Seam wasn't dead. And Sisyphus? Ah, Sisyphus had it made. The rock in the hill were a seam he had stayed. He didn't stop pushing. He didn't stop, sure. But he didn't pretend that the rock had a cure. He kept the seam open. He rolled, and Camus from the wings whispered, "Happy and bold." "And the tools?" asked the prince. "For the seam, for the door." And Coyote laid 6 little tools on the floor. A mirror to see what your face doesn't show. A break for the no when the yes wants to go. A fit that says soil is an insult to seed. A witness who furnishes rooms when you bleed. An earned thing, a trust that is paid, not assumed. And the little word yet, so the verdict's not doomed. 6 tools, 1 skill. It's the same skill in 6. It's the trick under tricks. It's the fix under fix. It's seam-keeping, friend. It's the whole modest kit. It's the reason the story's still worth what it writ. The little prince nodded. He rose. He said, "Oh," and he brushed off his knees, and he turned to go, and he said, "Mr. Coyote, one thing, if I may, does the zoo then stay open?" And Coyote, "Hey, the zoo is the seam, and the seam has no door. The zoo is what's left when you stop keeping score. The ostrich, the whale, and the storehouse of snow, they were never the answer. They were the show. The show is the answer. The show is the how. The show is the birthday. The show is the now. So happy trip round, little friend. Blow your flame. The candles are seams, and the seams have your name, and the grief is legitimate. That much is true. But the accounting is not, and the zoo is for you, too." Coyote reads the notebook, Anothen, A Seussian exploration of the Greek word anothen, meaning both again as time and from above as direction, retold with the little prince, Cindy Lou Who, and the characters of high control. Now sit yourself down and I'll tell you a word. A slippery, two-headed, feathery bird. The Greeks kept it caged in one sound, and oh then, it means from above, it means over again. The Grinch on his mountain heard singing below. He'd taken the ribbons, the tags, and the boughs, and still the Who sang. Not an event, a shift. The Christmas he'd stolen had never been gift. His heart grew 3 sizes, the storybooks say, like a thing that occurred at a time, on a day. But small Cindy Lou, who was not even 2, asked the question that only the littlest do, why? And a why is a where, not a when. The song came down at him. And nothing. Again. And Oz, mighty Oz, the great floating head, was curtains and levers and bellows instead. The system, dear friend, isn't solid or tall. It's a pattern that happens between us. That's all. No wizard to fix you. No switch on the wall. Just travelers, walking, each already whole. A man with a notebook once wrote out a plan. Improve the whole self. Optimize the whole man. 2 years, he wrote pages. The plan didn't work. Coyote is grinning. It isn't a smirk. The checklist stayed put. Not a word rearranged. The checklist was fine. It's the reading that changed. So when someone tells you they're born once again, don't fix them, don't school them, don't red ink their pen. Nicodemus was reading as well as he could. The engineer, too. Both were doing it good. Just do what you do. And you be you, too. And give the room, give it to be them. The who's, the pushers of boulders, the heads behind curtains, the men with their checklists so earnest, so certain. Again is a time. From above's a direction. Hold both. Refuse picking. That's it. That's the lesson. 3. Once upon a soft and recursive night, the narrative fable tracing Sisyphus, the Grinch, and Oz as they step out of their defensive library systems and into the relational presence of the kitchen. Once upon a soft and recursive night, Coyote sat by the fire with a grin just right. He flicked his tail and said, "Listen close, little Who, I'll tell you the tale of the man who pushed through. There once was a fellow, call him Sisyphus you, who rolled a big boulder the old engineer way, divide it, componentize, conquer and code. Track every data bit, tighten the load. He built a thick armor of intellect steel and called the whole fortress the self that is real. Closed loops of craving went round and around, desire plan, try fail sleep, wake bound. The boulder kept slipping, the system kept thin. Sisyphus, you muttered, I'll optimize in." Then along came the Grinch of the closed heart cave who'd rather stay locked than risk what love gave. No room for the other. The Grinch heart would growl. I need no surprise. I need no soft howl. I'll map every shadow and label each part. I'll keep the whole cosmos inside my own chart. He stole the bright wonder and stuffed it away in a sack labeled Control Do Not Play. But Coyote, the trickster, just laughed in the dark. Oh Grinchy, oh Sisyphus, follow this spark. He led them both down to the edge of the land where 2 different worlds hold each other's hand. Forest meets meadow, shade kisses the sun. Something new grows where the 2 become one. Not in the middle of either alone, but right at the boundary, the richest life's grown. There stood a small prince with a rose and a stare, and Cindy Lou Who with her soft Who hair. They asked very gently without any shove, what do you see when you look with a heart not above? Is the self a fixed atom you polish and own, or something that happens when you're not alone? The curtain of Oz gave a trembling shake. The great and powerful system began to quake. Behind it, no wizard with levers and codes, just a tired old man with some ordinary loads. I thought I was you, whispered Sisyphus Grinch. I never once noticed the me that could flinch. They gave me a name and a role and a script. I learned all the lines. I never once slipped. But the edge needs another pair of eyes. I cannot see me without someone who tries. Coyote danced sideways and sang like a fool. Embrace being silly, that's humility's school. The wind of the spirit or spirit of wind blows where it wishes. You can't force or pin. Identity isn't a permanent core you map and you master and lock in a drawer. It's what blooms when 2 ecosystems collide. Local conditions, attractors, the ride. Surprise is the wonder, the other's the key. I need you is not weakness, it's how you get free. So the boulder rolled softer. The Grinch heart grew wide, 3 sizes at least on that edge effect side. The armor came off like old winter coat snow. The kitchen replaced the old library show. Chickens and cats in the ordinary day became the new altar where control slipped away. True intelligence, Coyote declared with a wink, is leaving the room for the other to think. Not conquering systems, not coding the soul, but tending the edge where the new can unroll. And that, little Who, is the journal's true song, from closed-loop control to the place you belong, not fixed, not finished, not finally known, but born at the boundary, and never alone. Coyote grinned wider, then vanished in play. The fire kept burning. The edge stayed that way. 4. Coyote retells the net, written sideways by Coyote in the Seussian rhythm, retelling a real-world neuroscience study, Science, August 2026, on artificial hibernation and synaptic pruning to show how memory is preserved in patterns rather than isolated strands. The scientists whispered, the strong ones don't stay. The big synapse, the loud one, they wash it away, and still the mouse knows where it went yesterday. Coyote sat up. Coyote said, "Ho, That's a thing that I very much wanted to know, because friend, in the shelter, in circle, in room, we lean on the strong thing and call it the loom, but the loom isn't loom, the loom is the weave, and the weave is the thing that we're trying to leave alone while the elaboration reorganizes. Is a shape, not a strength. Sisyphus set down the rock. He looked at his hands, he said, "So what carries?" Coyote said, "Bands. Small clustered bands holding each other in place, touching one boot and across many a face. That's what stays, not the biggest, not the most loud. The pattern, the huddle, the little small crowd. The Grinch and the pruning." The Grinch, who was passing, said, "Pruning, I know. I once took every present in Whoville just so. I cut every ribbon. I lifted each tree, and still they were singing, and still they were W.E." Coyote said, "Yes, that is very well put. You subtracted the ribbon. You took every foot of tinsel and candy and roast beast and light, and something remained. That's the mouse's Thursday night. More than half of her synapses gone and asleep. Recall was preserved, some improved, some ran. Deep. Because Whoville is architecture, not stuff, and the mouse brain is Whoville, and that is enough for tonight." Oz behind the curtain. The man behind Oz's curtain said, "Wait, I want to explain. Let me really orate. The synapse is a lever, the engram's a switch. I have knobs I can tum, I have dials I can pitch. Let me stand in the middle and manage the show." Coyote said, "Man, behind curtain, no. The finding is not that a wizard is here. The finding is nobody's driving the gear. The strong ones get pruned at the very same rate as the small ones. There isn't a knob, there's a state. And the state is a pattern. And patums are shy. They don't like it when wizards come pushing them by, come out from the curtain, come sit on the floor. The room is the medium, the room is the door." The man came out. He was smaller than expected. This is often the case. The little prince draws the net. The small prince arrived from his small little star. He looked at the paper. He said, "Here you are. You have drawn me a chain and you've called it a mind. But the chain is a reading. The chain is a find of the person who traces. The net has no top. The net has no bottom. The net doesn't stop at a link you can name. And a link is a cut of the reader who reads. And so, tut tut now tut. You cannot say memory sits in a strand. You can say something clustered, held hand in hand. That is closer. That's what your chain and net says. That is what your satana keeps all its days, not the outcome, not audit, not who got the credit, but the quality passed through the link. If you edit for that, for the pattern, the loving, the shape, you don't need to control what escapes. Most escapes." Coyote said, "Prince, that's a very nice speech." The prince said, "It is not a speech, it is reach." Coyote said, "Fair. Cindy Lou Who and the manual." Cindy Lou Who came up softly and said, "Coyote, Coyote, please lift up your head. I have read your manual, the one that goes slow. The one where the facilitator lets go of the outcome, the naming, the strategic small nudge, the one where a shift is protected from judge. Is the paper for that?" Coyote said, "Well, yes, and also a whaming inside of the bell. The paper is not for the participant's ear. Do not walk in on Wednesday and say to them, 'Here, the science, the mice. Let your story unwind. The synapses go and you don't lose your mind.' That would be Oz. That would be Knob. That would be a facilitator using biology. Please don't." Cindy Lou said, "Then what is it for?" Coyote said, "Three little things and no more. 1, that's the moment the cluster is close to the floor. 2, the paper's control group is the picture to hold. When the motif itself was destroyed by the cold chemical hand, then the memory went. Not loosened, lost. That is what dissociation has meant. 3, when the facilitator gets big, starts wanting to prove, wanting rank, wanting sprig of achievement, the paper is quietly there, you cannot reach strands. You are not a repair of a synapse. You are just a room, and a chair, and a body that settled itself before speech. The engram is not what you're trying to teach. The elaboration will find its own way. You keep the container. That's all for today. 5, where am I in my genome? A whimsical Seussian deconstruction of genetic ownership, framing the genome as a temporary crossing point of ancient biological, microbial, and cultural rivers. Oh, come close, little friend, and I'll tell you a thing. A big kind of thing, with a rhyme it can sing. It's the tale of a paper called Where Am I in My Genome, and the I is you, and the genome is home. First, what is a genome, this word that sounds strange? A genome is tiny. A genome is huge. It's like asking a puddle, are you rain or a whoosh? The paper says, gently, it's 4 things at once, and none of them wins and none is a dunce. It's a little curled thread in the cells of your knee, swapping its bits like the leaves on a tree. It's a spelling, a song, a long lettery string that a robot could copy and still be your thing. It's a line that goes back and back and back 3.5 billion years down the track. It's a big shared closet. You and me and the fox were almost the same little genetic socks. So it's molecule, spelling, long line, and shared shelf. It's not just one thing. So then, where are you yourself? Second, the pronoun trick. This part is the sweet part. The paper says softly, "Oh dear little dear," the words got turned backward. Let's set that right here. When you say my genome, like my little cup, the words made a room, and they put a you up inside of that room like a queen on a chair, but if you go look, there is nobody there. There is something, oh yes, do not worry, don't fret, there's a very old doing that hasn't stopped yet. It's been walking and walking for billions of years, and today it walks here with your smile and your ears. So you're not a thing with a genome inside? You're a place where a very old river of tide flows through for a while, and it sparkles and sings. And you are the sparkle. And sparkles have wings. Third, the stack, you are made of a whole lot of clocks. Now here comes a wonder. Sit tight on the rug. You are not just a genome. You're more than a hug. You are stacks upon stacks of small tick-tocky things, each one with its own little clock and its rings. Your molecules wiggle and swap oh so quick. Your bellybugs garden inside like a trick. Your immune little army remembers each foe. Your brain makes new pathways wherever you go. Your habits grow tall, like a bean in a pot. Your family shapes you, with love or with not. Your language is old before you were begun. Your traditions, sir, older than moon, older than sun. The paper says, a person is a crossing point, not a thing. Like a train station where many, many trains sing. You're the spot where the rivers all cross with a splash, molecule river, and story river and dash of culture dash. Each one's a verb who is pretending it's a noun. Each one is doing, not sitting down. Fifth, shrew time, elephant time, you time. Here's a thing that will tickle your 5-year-old heart. A tiny shrew lives just 2 years, from start to depart. A giant gray elephant lives 70 long. Yet from inside their chests, it's the very same song. About 1 billion heartbeats for each mammal friend, so from the inside they both feel the same length. Thought has a heartbeat too. Isn't that grand? If you sped up your thinking to zoom across the land, a whole star could be one thought, a galaxy spin could be one little heartbeat to somebody thin. And if you slowed way, way down like a mountain in stone, a whole life of a person would flicker like foam. The middle rung where we stand, you and me, is not the best rung. It's just where we happen to be. It's the rung where a small creature notices rungs, where a heart with a mind starts to sing back to the suns. Seventh, memes, little idea creatures. Now here is a friend called a meme. Not the funny cat picture, though those are memes to every joke, every stricture. A meme is an idea that hops from head to head, copying itself in a word, in a thread, in a song, in a story, in please and in thanks, in the shape of a prayer, in a rhyme, in the ranks. Genes copy in cells, with a chemistry hum. Memes copy in minds, with a look what'll done. A fairy tale is a meme. A hymn is a meme. Your name is a meme. Even this little theme. The paper says culture isn't like evolution. It is just running on brains instead of bodies with fizz. And even the little that you feel in your chest, that little self-picture, is also a guest. It's a meme in the crossing, pretending it's boss. But the crossing is bigger. The self is soft moss. Eighth, the ultimate reciprocity. The rest 3.5 billion years worth of light has been taking care of itself day and night, without any help from a you or a me. It will keep taking care. Just be where you be. You are not a thing with things in it. You are a crossing where doings all knit. The doings are older than trees, older than dinosaurs, older than seas. They pass through you sparkling and out the far side, and while they are passing, you get to decide to notice, to love it, to sing it out loud, to be a small window the sun shines out proud. The relational vows and hedges. 6. I think terms and conditions may apply. The primary lyrical contract of the notebook, written as an honest relational disclosure rather than a performative promise of safety. I will let you down when you need me most someday. Not because I want to, I will do all I can to avoid that. My intent does not soften your pain. Don't trust me with what you can't lose. I don't. We don't get to choose ordinarily when we meet mortality. We don't remember birth. We won't remember death, I think. 7. Wo Ye Bugan. Chinese translation of the terms and conditions. The bilingual partner to the mortality poem, capturing the exact syntactic and emotional limits of human guarantee. 我会你知道，我会让你失望，在你最需要我的时候，总有一天。不是因为我想我会尽一切努力避免我的用意减轻不了你的痛。别把你输不起的东西托付给我，我也不敢。我们平常并不真正选择何时遇见死亡。我们不记得出生，也不会记得死亡。我想，于是这成为对人类现实的披露。现实是感知，也是能见。你选择注意什么？你选择谁？对我而言，除了我以外，都在暗处冷水漫光，还明亮。在外面，不在这里。Coyote TRS 8:21:26 8. And often, between the hallowed and the thankful are brief, highly evocative art of meditation bridging Halloween, honoring the dead, and Thanksgiving, thanking the living. Born again is not a ladder. It is autumn's spiral stair. The leaf lets go from above, from the beginning. Both meanings held in one Greek word, one air. The skull keeps smiling at the frog, who once was prince, or will be yet. The queen in silhouette wears her crown the way water wears the riverbed, by yielding, by staying, by turning again. Between the night we honor the dead and the day we thank the living, there is a month the color of tea-stained paper, taped at the comers, still unfinished, where the fractal signs its own name in a smaller hand, and smaller still, each iteration answering, yes, this is consistent, this is the will. That wills nothing. Wu Wei in November. The pattern that holds by not holding on. Look down at the leaf, look up through the leaf. Anothen. Again, from above. It's 1. 9. Birthday, step 8. The raw 11-line birthday closure written in pencil on the 62nd birthday, representing the Sabbath of the meaning engine and reconciliation late in life. Leviathan exists, Job, so I wrote it in pencil and the whale didn't mind. 62 candles, 4 windows, daughters folded into glass, a wife in the Comer tile laughing at a man grinning under his own trees. Aunt Carol, 82, says probably not, but tell me more, which is what the whirlwind said politely from a smaller phone. So I said the unsaid thing. It cost nothing. It was everything. Amends to the living, postage due for 40 years, paid. It's not always about you. Have some gratitude, won't you? Released to the public domain like everything else like me. Act 3, Somatic Notebook Fragments. Short, raw, and rhythmic pen strokes transcribed directly from the handwritten notebook spreads. The systems engineer protocol. Divide, componentize, recombine, conquer, divide. The closed cycle of craving. Desire, want, wish, plan, try, cry, fail, fall asleep, wake, desire. The descent of taboo. Naked, nude, lewd, crude, natural, taboo, artificial cover-up. Shame for body gain with commodity. Superior intellect means what? I just don't know to you. The prison of the controller. Manufactured shame. It came from the outside like pollen you sneeze. Then it plants the weeds, them nasty seed of shame, like a virus, parasite, and ringworm. It becomes a part of new you. Who? Shame on you. Shame on me. Shame on them. An abundance, surplus of shame. What a fucking shame. You can't run. You can't hide because you are it, remember? The metabolic cure. So, what can you do? You can shake it and wake it. You can take it and face it. You can erase it and replace it. It's in there, just another subtle ingredient. Burp. The scripts of identity. I thought I was you, I did not notice me, then I had a name, they called it my identity. Do this, do that, don't do that, do it this way. Learn your lines, learn your roles, now you think you know who you are or not. The grammar of judgment. Judgment, Judas, justice is blind. Fair, ought, should, would, could change, what is it, won't budge, will it? The smallest scale. Quark, split, spat, in, out, here, now gone. The ecology of the edge. The edge effect, emergence, local conditions, shade, sun, water, left, right, squiggle, squirrel, twirl attractors, pollen, mix and match, spread, click, clack, bridge match. One idea spawns another, here, there, nowhere, here, now, gone later. The interface of meeting. When two minds meet, they pass between the empty spaces. Neither is material, they are ephemeral. If they cannot touch, how do they interact? What emerges is exhaust. Abandoned as waste purged back into the whole, more minds than before. The somatic asymmetry. Me is always there, when sad, when I'm glad, I'm just glad, no reason. In any season. The 3-line ethic. Go do what you do, you be, you give the room to be them too. Closing, what the seam keeps. If this book has a doctrine, it is a shrug, and the shrug is load-bearing. The rhymes are not decoration, they are the container. Seussian meter is what keeps the ideas from calcifying into a system that could be sold, defended, or used to hurt someone. Every time a thought here starts to go hard, a coyote arrives and bounces it off a wall until it remembers it is only a thought. What the book is actually about is the seam. A mark makes an inside and an outside. That is Spencer Brown's first move, and it is also every act of naming, every diagnosis, every eye, every wall of every shelter and every recovery program. Marks are useful. Marks are unavoidable. The trouble is not that we draw them. The trouble is when we forget we drew them and start believing the inside is the whole world and the outside is nothing. The seam is what we keep open so the outside can still speak. Keeping the seam is the whole practice. The 6 modes of absence are a taxonomy of how the outside gets refused. The blank page before any drawing. The empty slot no one was due to fill. The missing, which has teeth because someone was there. The denied, which is the meanest, pushed away and returning wearing somebody's hair. The unknown, which is honest when it admits itself. And the negated, the fenced-in, not that is precise inside its box and unsingable outside it. 6 ways to miss, 1 skill to notice, that is the seam keeper's kit. The mirror, the break, the fit, the witness, the earned thing, and the little word, yet. Underneath the fables, 3 shapes recur. The library and the kitchen. The library is the closed system, the checklist, the armor of intellect steel, the wizard behind the curtain running dials. It promises mastery and delivers exhaustion. The kitchen is the edge chickens, cats, an ordinary day, another pair of eyes. The library says, I will map you. The kitchen says, I need you to see me, because I cannot see me alone. The whole arc of the fables is Sisyphus, the Grinch, and Oz walking out of one and into the other, and finding that the boulder gets lighter when it is no longer proof of anything. Pattern, not strand. The coyote in the net fable, refracting the 2026 pruning paper, is the Anthology's neuroscience koan. The strong synapses do not stay. The loud strand is not the memory. What carries is the huddle. Small clustered bands touching one button across many a face. This is also how the recovery room works. The facilitator is not a repair of a synapse. The facilitator is a room, a chair, a body settled before speech. The engram is not what you are trying to teach. The container is. The elaboration will find its own way. Anothen, again and from above at the same time. The refusal to choose between the two meanings is the entire relational ethic. Every character who tries to be born only again, only in time, only on schedule, only through effort, ends up in the library. Every character who tries to be born only from above, only by revelation, only by grace, only by escape, ends up as a wizard behind a curtain. The book keeps both. It is autumn's spiral stare. The leaf lets go from above, the leaf lets go again. There is also the honesty of terms and conditions. You know I will let you down when you need me most someday. Not because I want to. My intent does not soften your pain. This is not cynicism. It is the opposite of cynicism. It is what you can actually promise when you have stopped pretending to be a wizard. The Chinese partner poem, Th, tightens the same disclosure into a bilingual seam, a hedge that is not a defense, only an accurate description of what a mortal can offer another mortal. The room does not need the facilitator to be a god. The room needs the facilitator to be honest about being a room. And the somatic fragments, in Act 3, are the book's undersong. They are what the fables look like at 3 a.m. in pencil before Coyote arrives to make them bounce. The systems engineer protocol, divide, componentize, recombine, conquer, divide, is what the library sounds like from inside. The closed cycle of craving is what the library feels like from inside. The ecology of the edge and the interface of meeting are the kitchen already showing through the seam of the notebook page. And the last fragment, the whole book's smallest possible summary, is the 3-line ethic. Go do what you do. You be you. Give the room to be them too. That third line is where every fable finally lands. The room to be them too is the seam kept open. It is what the 6 tools protect. It is why the meter has to stay bouncy and the doctrine has to stay shy. It is what Cindy Lou Who asks the Grinch, not for the roast beef's back, but for the host she saw for a second before the cave sealed shut. It is what Coyote gives the little prince at the birthday zoo. Not an answer, but a chair beside him, and a story that keeps the outside speaking. The seam and the mark does not close. That is the point. The zoo stays open. The seam has no door. The candles are seams, and the seams have your name. So happy, trip round, blow your flame. The book, like the mark, has an inside and an outside and. The seam, we hope, has been left just askew.